We are back yet again with another Disney remake, reboot, whatever you want to call it at this point. Disney's been churning these out like it's a full-time job, literally just over the years, constantly remaking every single animated classic movie you can think of. Lion King, Lilo and Stitch, they're making a live-action Moana. The list goes on and on and on. I'm sure there's going to be an Inside Out that's going to be live-action. Just why not? Why not just recycle the same stories into live-action, right? I mean, all they're trying to do is make money. So right now we're going to be talking about Snow White, the new version of it. The trailer just dropped, and I'm going to be telling you my thoughts and reasons as to why I think this one is going to be a flop. Box office wise, I think it's probably going to do okay. I mean, I don't honestly, that's a toss-up, but I think that the movie is not going to be received very well, and I have several different things that lead me to believe that. So I'm going to be going through just some of those things, and I'd love to hear what you guys think of it below. Am I just hating on it? Are people just overreacting before watching the movie, or is this justified? Now, if you like this content, please be sure to hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with the latest videos just like this. All support is greatly appreciated. Alright, so in this first section, we're going to be talking about the stars of the movie, and that is Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot as the main characters. Now, Rachel Zegler plays Snow White, and Gal Gadot plays the evil witch. So, turning straight to Rachel Zegler, as I'm sure you've heard, there's been a lot of talk about what she's been saying and her attitude towards the entire project from the very beginning. There's been lots of ups and downs with that, and to go into more detail on that, she's basically been sort of talking very dismissive about the original Snow White story, about the traditional sense of having this Prince Charming come and save the queen, as it were, or the princess, and she really doesn't like that idea. She really has a problem with that, and the way that she talks about this during her interviews is very dismissive, very condescending, like there's something wrong with it. Take a listen.
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love.
So apparently the modern way to retell this classic story, which by the way Disney didn't even originate, this is just a classic story that's out there and has been recreated, and this character has been used many times. The story has been told a lot of different ways, and the tried and true way is the classic animated version where you have the Snow White and the prince and everything like that, and it just was a classic movie that even stands the test of time today. And the fact that they're even wanting to touch that is already a problem, but I'll get to that later on. But back to Rachel Zegler, the way she talks about it, you could see in an interview, she has problems with that. You want somebody that's going to lead this thing to have a good attitude about it, to be honored to take on the role of Snow White. It's an iconic character. It's a great opportunity for her to showcase her singing abilities. She's not a bad actor by any means, by the way. I'm not hating on her as an actor. I'm just hating on her as a person because of her attitude that she has. And she's also a great singer, you know, and she was in the adaptation of West Side Story, and I thought she was great in that, and I didn't know too much about her before that point, but I've seen more and more of her, and I'm not really liking what I'm seeing. But you take that, and it really just muddles the waters a bit when you have our lead that seems to just not care about the original source material and looks down on it and is just so woke in that matter, as they say. And it is go woke, go broke, and I'm going to be talking about that more after this. But not on top of that, though, these celebrities, not to get completely off track here, but these celebrities need to stay away from the politics. Okay, so Rachel Zegler, after the presidential election, without getting too much into that, she had this huge, fiery, really inappropriate rant about anybody who voted for, you know, opposed the president basically now. And, you know, I don't even care what side you're on, but saying some of the things she said is crazy, especially when you're about to launch the movie that she's in, when you're about to see the fruits of everyone's labor in this movie, Snow White, and you're over here basically polarizing your audience for no reason. I never understood why these celebrities want to get involved in politics. If you want to be hated by half of your fan base, if not more, or if you want to just split your fan base in half, start talking politics. That's the best way to do it. And the funny thing is, you have nothing to gain ever. You might gain more respect of your current fans, but you're not going to gain any more, and you're only going to push people away from you. And it's the same with these companies. But I'm getting off track here. She said in this rant that anybody who voted for Trump or Trump Trump supporters and Trump himself never know peace. That's what she said in her Instagram story, which is crazy. It's a crazy thing to say. And again, this is either side. I don't care what side of the political division you're on. Saying this is absolutely crazy. So right off the bat, you have somebody unhinged like this, and I'm only mentioning it because it's only hurting the movie. Like, this is who's leading the story. This is who's going to be behind this. And it really does hurt a movie. So right off the bat, you've already alienated or polarized a good portion, maybe not a good portion, but at least half of your demographic or people that are seeing this trailer are going to not really support it as much because of this. But enough about Rachel Zegler. Let's move on to Gal Gadot. Honestly, I've never really found her to be that great of an actor. I think she's very cardboard, if you will. I'm not trying to be too harsh with it, but she's playing the evil witch. She has the look for it for sure, so she might be able to pull it off. And in the trailer, it doesn't look that bad, but again, I've never really seen much from Gal Gadot that's made me go, wow, she's a great actress, we should cast her in things. So again, lead's already questionable, and if we're taking the person completely out of it, Rachel Zegler is definitely better of the two, and she does kind of look like Snow White, and I could definitely see her fitting the role, so there's that. But again, you've already come in at a bad start with what Rachel Zegler did. Moving on, we have the source material. So the writers of this movie are Greta Gerwig, which you may know her from directing and writing the Barbie movie, and Lady Bird, which is a great movie as well, and Little Women. So, she is a solid director. I don't mind her work at all. The other writers are Erin Cressida Wilson and Dorothy Ann Blank, along with director Marc Webb, which has been in the scene for quite some time as well, and has worked on movies like 500 Days of Summer and The Amazing Spider-Man. So on paper, it's not a bad unit to be working with here. The only problem that I have with this is that they're taking this story and they're adding these modern ideologies to it, and they're forcing them in. This is my problem with a lot of these things, is that they don't try to subtly do it in. They don't want to write a strong female character anymore. They want to ham-fist just the fact that they're female in there. And I could show many examples, and I'm happy to provide this in the comments if anyone has any disagreements on this, that you can easily write a strong female character without making it feel forced. And you do that by making sure the character is good, all right? And I feel like they're pushing this sort of narrative where, how dare you in modern day have a Prince Charming come in and save the princess? How dare you? I mean, that's an asinine concept that should never be done. Why? I don't know. What is the reasoning behind that? I know we're in modern day, and that Snow White can still be an empowered, strong character, right? I hope they know that just because a Prince Charming comes in or whatnot, part of the story, it doesn't necessarily mean that, oh, the Snow White character is just this weak, this weak character, when she clearly has powers and abilities, you know what I mean? So I never understood that, but I'm mentioning this because they are mentioning it in the trailers, they're mentioning it in the interviews, that this is not your typical traditional story of Snow White. She's an independent princess. She doesn't need anybody to come save her. And all these empowerment ideologies, which I wouldn't mind if they did it organically, but this is Disney, so everything has to be woke, everything has to be forced. Look at the last 10, 15 projects they've done. It's all very forced. And the audience is not buying it. They're not caring about it. Honestly, nobody cares about this, really. And there's nothing wrong with telling the classic story. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with having a Prince Charming or whatever. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. So I don't know what they did to this story. I don't know. I haven't read the synopsis. I'm not sure if they changed this drastically, or if maybe I'm talking completely out of whack and it's the exact same story. Who knows? I have no idea. But from what they're saying in the interviews, what everyone's talking about is that they have changed this story up to fit this modern view, and I don't think that works. If you want to make another princess movie on your own, do something just different. Don't bring in the Snow White in and ruin that story, because there's nothing wrong with it to begin with. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If you want to do your own thing, do something else. You know what I mean? And again, Greta Gerwig, I respect her as a director. I do like her movies. I thought the Barbie movie did just that. That one had a lot of layers though, so I'm not sure, but that one also kind of pushed these ideas forward and really shoved it down the audience's throat. But that one might get a pass because it is kind of poking fun at both sides, but there's a couple of moments in there that are, yeah, anyways, let's not get into that. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And then next we have the Dwarfs. That alone needed a section on its own, in my opinion. So to get this correct, Disney is all about inclusivity and diversity and all this stuff, right? That is until you have to cast dwarfs or smaller actors to play these dwarf characters. That they cannot do. I don't know what they did to these dwarfs. I'm not sure, but they look like claymation. I don't know what they look like, dolls, claymation, CGI. I don't know. They look just odd. They look very odd, and they could have easily had the opportunity to give work and acting jobs to people who are dwarfs and could play these characters, but they decided not to do that. Double standard much? And why do you think that is? That's because nobody talks about that stuff. This is the Disney ideology here, is that if people were talking about that more, and that was a problem that people had, they would 100% do it. They only do things because that's what they think people are talking about. Or I don't really know why they do some of these things, to be completely honest with you. They just are, they lean in that direction. They're very woke for whatever reason. But clearly the audience isn't eating that up. But no, like, now people are talking about it, but you see that they have a double standard here. So the dwarfs just look weird, and they're integral part of the story. It's the Seven Dwarfs, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. So you kind of needed to get that right. And the first rendition they had of it, which I'm showing you now on the screen, I mean, I don't know what kind of Woodstock looking group this is. I don't know if this was real or not, but this is crazy that they even tried to go with this kind of like really force diversity in here. Again, they had no problem with this, but no, how dare you even think about hiring smaller actors to play these roles? How dare you? That they will not do. So calling you out on your BS, Disney, and it just looks weird. It's not working. And again, integral part of the story. But for these reasons, I think that this movie is going to fail, at least on a critical level. I can't speak for the general audience. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of parents that take their kids to see this movie, or people who love the Snow White story and want to see it, or just are Disney fanatics and are going to see it. Regardless, though, I don't know how we'll do box office wise. Critically, it's not looking good. Honestly, it's not looking good. They should have just done something else. If you want to go that woke, don't touch these older properties. Don't touch The Lion King or whatever. You know what I mean? Don't touch Lion King. Don't touch Peter Pan. Don't touch Pinocchio. Why do that? Leave things as they are and make your own original things. Inside Out is an incredible movie, and that's their movie. You know what I mean? They have good movies that can be done, that are original. They don't need to do this crap. So I don't know. What do you guys think of it, though? Am I overreacting with this? Who knows? I think it's warranted, though, for a lot of these things. But please let me know below. Please hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with the latest videos just like this, and I'll catch you on the flip.